So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to select your snowboard. For this we're going to consider 4 criteria: use, level, height and your boot size. First is this all-mountain board, which is the most popular of boards that anyone uses. Reason being, it's really easy to get on with. It's medium flex, which means it gives you stability and it makes it easy to carve. It's also directional with your bindings set towards the back of the board. This means that it's predominantly designed to go in one direction. It gives you more stability because your support's at the back of the board and it makes it easy to carve. The second board type is a freestyle board, which is this one here. You'll notice straight away that freestyle boards tend to be a lot shorter. This allows for more movement and for you to be a lot more agile when you're riding down the slope. The other thing to note is that the bindings are completely symmetrical and that your tip and your tail are completely symmetrical. So when you're spinning in the air, when you're riding, hitting rails or hitting the half pipe, it's a lot easier to use and a lot easier to spin in the air. With the edges, they're not as easy to carve as what you find with an all-mountain board. Reason being is that the board has a lot more flex, but also it allows you to hit features like rails and boxes without catching your edge. Next thing to think about is your level of riding. So if you're a beginner, you want a board which is quite soft or to a medium flex. This means when you're learning, it's easier to move the board around, but with a medium flex board, it means you can still carve quite easily when riding on piste. If you're an advanced rider, you want to go in one of 2 directions. If you're an advanced and riding piste and picking up a lot more speed, you want a board which is really rigid. A rigid board gives you more stability and it allows you to carve a lot harder. If you're an advanced rider but riding park, you want a slightly different board. We've already spoke about the freestyle board, but with a freestyle board you get a lot more flex. So if you're advanced and you're riding park day in, day out, so it allows you to hit the kickers, to hit the rails, and allows you to gain a lot of pop when you're riding features. The third thing to consider is the length of the board. You can see here I have 2 different styles of boards with 2 different heights. This one being all mountain on my right, this one being freestyle on my left. If you're a beginner, you want a board which is around 20 to 25 centimeters shorter than you are. If you find a shorter board more comfortable, go for that. If you're riding freestyle, you want a board which is a lot shorter. You also have one other thing to consider, which is your size and weight. If you're a larger, taller rider, you tend to want a slightly longer board. If you're a shorter, lighter rider, you tend to want a slightly shorter board to give you more stability when you're riding. So the final thing to consider when you're selecting your board is your boot size. Now in front of me I have 2 all-mountain boards, a standard width, which is this one here, and a wide width, which is this one here. What you need to consider is that if your boot size is larger than 10.5 UK size, you tend to want a wide board. Reason being is that when you ride a standard board like this one here, it's quite a narrow width and your boot wants to fit fully on the board. If your boot is quite large, you're going to need a wider board, because if your boot overhangs, you're not going to get as much toe traction on your toe turns, and you may even catch your boot on the snow when you are making turns. So make sure you pick the right width of board when you're selecting.